Okay, here we go. So yeah, welcome everyone. This is, believe it or not, our Stammtisch number 15. So we've been running this for quite a long time. And it's always a great pleasure to connect with people and have a bit of an informal chat around all things quantum computing. So it's our tradition that we go around the room for a short introduction. This is a community, so it's great for people to introduce themselves and get to know each other. There is no fixed agenda. But we'll maybe play it as we go along. But let's start with the introductions. Before I do that, so just for those who are new, just a couple of minutes about Quantum London. So we started 2.5 years ago in a pub with many questions, more questions than answers. And it was all around what is quantum computing? How is it going to change the business world? And we soon realized that we didn't have all the answers we needed. So we slowly put together a community of people combining professionals and experts around the field to look at what does quantum mean for the business world. So looking what most interesting use cases and bringing people together around the topic. And yeah, so with that, let's maybe start with some introductions. Let's go around the room and introduce each other. I will start with Anna.
Hi everyone, I'm Anna and I help run Quantum London along and also Paolo. So I work in insurance, I'm a data scientist, and my journey with quantum began around a year ago when I worked on a report on the impact of quantum computing on insurance, and then got in contact with this community and have been a part of it ever since. So yeah, I'm really coming from the lens of the business impacts as well, and not an expert in quantum computing by any means. So that's my story and that's who I am, and excited to meet the rest of you.
Thank you very much. Next one on the screen I have Esperanza. Nice to see you.
Hi everyone, thrilled to be here with the friends of Quantum London. And when Em was talking about meeting in a pub, maybe someday I'm based in Madrid, but I'm more than willing to go to London, and maybe one day we can meet in person again. I'm following very closely your in-person events, and I hope soon I will be able to be there. Well, regarding quantum, my story is a story about curiosity and learning and thinking about how can we some way harness the power of quantum computing in businesses. And related to that, this summer I was asked to join the Quantum Strategy Institute. We will talk more about this later. And I'm thrilled to be part of this initiative, and also always happy to be here with Quantum London.
Thank you very much, Esperanza. Next one I have Amrita. Welcome, nice to see you again.
Hi, thanks everyone. So hello, my name is Amrita. Working as engineering manager in United Health Group. Entire experience of my career is in finance and healthcare industry. So before that, I was in a finance domain that is called as Mercer. It's an organization which mainly deals with actuaries and financial part of the industry, and currently working as an engineering manager, plus I'm working also as an enterprise architect for United Health Group. I joined Quantum Strategy Institute along with Anahita and Esperanza. So yeah, we're gonna talk about it later. As head of quantum machine learning and quantum engineering. So my passion for quantum is something uh, it's sort of a childhood passion. If you see, I had this great interest in physics and astronomy. I don't remember when I started having fascination about all these stuff. And I actually entered engineering, and I was in this working as profession. I thought how I can actually intersect my curiosity, passion with the work that I'm doing, and that's how I discovered quantum. I started with quantum physics and quantum mechanics like 5 years back. I did work like sort of an individual, then tried materials, tried books everywhere, and tried joining all sort of MIT courses and all sort of trainings that are present on the internet. So that's how I mean, kind of, this was my quantum journey. So it's all about, I think I was always sort of passionate. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. If you have anything interesting in terms of material to share, especially for people who are new to the topic, please feel free to share, in the chat. And I'm sure there will always be people interesting, to start in the journey. So I think that would be very much appreciated if you want. That would be nice. Thank you. Ignacio.
Sure.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. My name is Ignacio. I'm from Chile, but I'm based now in Copenhagen in Denmark. I'm a new PhD fellow at the Copenhagen Business School, and that's how I get connected into quantum. I was looking for new technologies related to computing, and I found quantum, and I got passionate about it this a year ago. And then I decided to start a PhD adventure. So I decided to start it with quantum computing. So I'm starting to understand quantum computing from a managerial perspective and business models related. But I also believe that you can't understand quantum only on that side. You also need the basis, the mechanics, the physics. So I like to mix both perspectives. And I'm willing to meet you, everybody. As you said, every advice or every resource is always well received. So thank you for that. And I will, of course, be sharing whatever I found useful to all of you. So nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. And welcome. Elena, welcome.
Hello. Hi, everyone. My name is Eliana. I'm originally from Albania, but now I'm based in London, and I'm working at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. It's an international institution which is not very well known in the UK. It's well known worldwide, but not very well known in the UK. That's a funny fact. And I'm a quantitative analyst. I work at the Treasury Department. So we're just looking for new ways or innovative ways of pricing our portfolio of derivatives. And quantum computing has been one of the key topics that we've discussed with the team. This is my first time attending your sessions. I'm very, very excited. It's been mostly independent learning for me. My background is actually in mathematics, applied mathematics, to financial engineering more specifically. So not so much of a finance or engineering background. So as I mentioned, it's been mostly independent learning. So that's why I tried to take advantage of resources like this one, where we could discuss about potentially the impact that quantum computing has on different fields like finance, for example, which is my interest. Nice to meet you all.
Thank you very much and welcome. Leela, hello.
Hello, so I'm Leela. Basically, I'm from Algeria, but since 3 years, I came to France to study computer science and statistics. So I've been interested in physics and all the space stuff since I was young, but I was not really, so I didn't study that at the university. I did a lot of probabilities and statistics. So, and now we're taking courses in high performance computing. So all my interest in mathematics and physics converged to quantum computing. So I Googled on the internet quantum computing meetup, and here I am.
Fantastic.
So
good to hear we are high on ranking on Google then. Thank you.
Yes. Maybe so I'm looking now for like universities that teach quantum computing, like applying algorithms that are developed in data science and compute them with quantum machines. So that's all. And I'm very happy to find you here. And thanks for being here.
Our pleasure, welcome. Yeah, so quantum machine learning is a topic that we touch on from time to time. So there might be some conversations around that tonight as well. Thank you very much. Andrew, nice to see you again.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Oh,
Which
another
one?
Oh, I was Andrew Goal. Apologies. I didn't see the rest to Andre.
Oh, there's an Andrew. Okay,
Goal.
I'll go first. Then you can pass on to the next
Yeah,
one.
the problem
Hi,
is if I don't follow the order, my brain will be messed up and I would be confused on who was talked already and who's not. So I should need to go in order. Andrew, please, Andrew Goal. Oops. Oh, and we lost Andrew. Let's skip it for a second.
Yeah.
Then.
Hi, from it's frozen for me now.
Yeah,
sorry,
you're
it's froze for me. Right, I'll start again. So yeah, I'm involved in quant sort of commercialization. I've been.
You're breaking up, Andrew.
20 years involved in sort of technology, applying some quantum future programs over. So happy to share perspectives on commercialization and investment in startups and scaling into corporates.
Yeah. Thank you. You broke up a bit, but I think you wrapped it up at the end, so it was clear.
Okay, I'll post some
material
we've recently been doing so people can follow up.
Thank you. Doug, nice to see you again.
Hi, I'm Doug Walters. I'm an enterprise architect, worked in IT for 44 years. Most of that time I've sort of tended to focus on emerging technologies and how they can be applied in a practical sense. Over the last couple of years I've been focused on blockchain. I've got a number of qualifications in both the technology and the business strategy of blockchain. And I'm currently advising a couple of clients on how to apply blockchain within their business models. I'm now turning my attention to quantum, doing lots and lots of reading, attending meetups, and generally trying to get myself sort of educated. It's a bit of an uphill task. I'm actually a trained historian, so it's quite difficult for me to some of this quantum stuff. It's quite a leap. But at the end of the day, everything all resolves down to logic, sort of when it comes down to it. So I'll get there in the end. And as I say, I've been working on a paper about the state of quantum and how I see that progressing from an application point of view within the business.
Thank you very much. I think we are all on a journey on a very complicated topic and a very it's evolving, right? Things are happening every day, and it's also tricky to stay up to speed with the pace of the innovation in the space. So yeah, I think we share some of your we're on the same journey. That's what I'm trying to say. But yeah, welcome. Nice to see you again. Vant, I have you next on my screen. Vant Key.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
I'm sorry, I don't have a video. Yeah, I'm just an interested person that want to keep up with future technologies and future ideas. And I saw your advertisement for the meeting, so I joined. So this is how I came to be here. Thank you for being here for me. All right.
No, pleasure. Thank you. Welcome. Bamborde.
Hey, hello. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can.
Yeah. Okay, so this time is better. Okay, I believe you can see me also. So hopefully the connection doesn't break before I stop my blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I'm Bamborde. I'm currently running an initiative by my company called quantumformalism.com, which is essentially aimed at exposing advanced mathematical topics related to quantum computing that are not normally introduced in these elementary introduction courses that are normally available online and these things. For example, I'm doing at the moment, I'm delivering a course on topology and the differential geometry as a prerequisite for another course that I will do on Lie groups For those of you who might be thinking, what does this have to do with quantum computing? Well, the quantum gates, the elementary building blocks that you learn in introductory courses of quantum computing, they are not just matrices and these things that you learn how to multiply and this type of stuff. They have a very rich structure. One of such a structure is a group structure, but they also have like a geometrical topological structure called manifold. So yeah, if you really want to go to the next level, these are things that you cannot ignore. So hopefully this initiative makes it a little bit easier for people who want to take the next step.
Just a quick question. So what is the audience? This seems like a very advanced maths topic, right? So the audience who will be your ideal audience?
The connection broke a little bit. Can you repeat again, please?
Yeah, I was wondering, who is your audience? Who is the audience of your initiative?
Yeah, this is a very good question. So our audience are definitely not high school students unless they have already advanced level sort of a mathematics. So ideally, people who already gone through, coming from STEM background that have been introduced to university level of mathematics, because they can handle a little bit more the abstraction, because some of the stuff that they learn in the abstract, they can relate to it to some of the stuff that they were doing, in calculus and, elementary algebra stuff that they went through with. So yeah, so it's definitely, it's not for everyone. It's more suitable for people who already maybe gone through, introductory stuff to quantum computing, but they want to have access to advanced research literature. I'll give you one very interesting example recently out of the Kisket summer school. There was one of the lectures that one of my connections recently shared on quantum. I think it's called quantum kernels in practice, something like that. I think it's lecture 7 something. If you look at that, I had a look at that, and in one of the examples, the lecturer was giving an example of the group SU2. There's no way that the audience will understand that if they don't know what a group is. In particular, someone looking at what she was talking, what she was writing, and this is all Lie group stuff behind scenes. So someone who doesn't have that mathematical background will, I'm sorry, they'll probably be lost as, as a child in the forest or something. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah, that's a brief intro. I'll share the link on the.
Yes, please. Yeah, if anything interesting you would like to share with the rest of the group, please put it in the chat. And also, we tend to also send out an email with all the links that have been shared during these conversations that will be available also to people who have subscribed to the.
One thing so another final thing before I stop. We are actually, as a follow-up, we'll organize a hackathon next year for people who go through the course. So it will be very interesting. I will also put an announcement for that, so I'm not taking much of time on the thing. So thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Please do keep us posted when that's happening and how to get involved, and who is the audience. Is that startups or
sure.
Combination of corporates and startups? But thank you very much. And also, Amrita, I see you've been active in the chat. Thank you very much. So, I spotted a very useful links there. Thank you very much for that. So next one, I have Andrea, finally.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So I am a graduate student from Romania, and I started studying quantum computing a year and a half ago, or 2 years, something like this. And I want to know more, and I start to take part in a lot of challenges because I think that's the best way to learn. And actually, first I used the course from Quantum Formalism last year because they had an introductory in algebra. And after this, I take part to a Coecke, and the result was a paper that will be in EA Quantum Week that was shared in the chat. And now I finished working to some quantum games. And the next project that I want to do is related to quantum finance, but I don't know enough yet. So I first attended Quantum London at the last presentation about quantum finance.
Yeah, great. I think I might hook you up with Esperanza, who is a bit of an expert in the field. If I want to have a chat. But thank you and welcome to the community again.
Thanks. And here is my friend because I corrupt quantum computing.
My name is Raul. I began studying quantum computing this summer. I participated in the Kiskid summer school, both bronze and silver. And I like this topic and would like to learn more.
Fantastic. Well, welcome. I hope we can help you along the journey. And I'm very curious about quantum games. If you want to tell us a bit more in the chat, please feel free to.
Oh yes,
so,
I will.
Very curious concept there. Okay. Next, I have Anush. Hi, Anush. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, hi everybody. This is Anuj here. Like I'm a quantum computing evangelist based in India, and like I'm getting more opportunities to evangelize quantum computing as with like Kiskid Advocate program. I'm part of it and looking forward to. There are many events which are actually coming from IBM quantum group. There is one IBM Quantum Challenge fall 2021, which is actually scheduled towards the end of this month. I would request people who are actually interested in the business application to please actually register themselves. It is a good opportunity learning. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Master Anuj. Next one, I have Baran Ra.
Yeah. Hi everyone. I'm a medical doctor. Actually, I'm working in occupational medicine, but a very wide interest in many different fields. I've done last year the course that was offered by IBM, Qubit by Qubit. That was quite useful. And this year I've been joining the group of Terrible France, who offered sort of a preparation course for people who want to do a master's. I mean, although I don't want to do a master's, I found it interesting because it gave me some of the basics, basically curriculum to know what sort of, because obviously quantum computing covers a lot of physics and mathematics, which are not exactly my strong areas, but I found it quite useful to sort of get a curriculum. My interest is obviously medical applications of quantum computing, and I think there will be probably some applications we can't even yet think of, but I'm pretty sure there will be applications. And recently I attended an online seminar by D-Wave, and there was a lady who's already working in that field. So the hospital applications where they're able to schedule, I think it's part diagnostic, but also parts in terms of scheduling. They're using D-Wave's quantum annealer to do this. It was really interesting. So there are applications in the medical field as well in healthcare. And obviously some of the core subjects like chemistry, like molecular folding and things like this, obviously really useful applications. Interestingly, it seemed to be that the quantum annealer right now is coming out on top, whereas the gate models, I think we have to still probably work on them. There's more in their infancy, but it would appear the annealers are actually quite useful for many applications already. So yeah, I watch the space. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And if you have any other use cases you would like to share with us on the medical side, please do so. I saw the one about D-Wave. It was very interesting. The one you mentioned about optimizing resources. So I think there was around having hospitals in different parts of, it was in the US, maybe it was Manhattan or somewhere around that area. They were able to balance the resources from one hospital to another and figuring out how to best distribute patients, minimizing the amount they have to travel and optimizing the resources in the area. And they were showing it compared to classical versus quantum, and they were showing with a real example how actually the quantum was a significant speed up compared to the classical. Maybe
basically an optimization model, and they use the QBO model for it, where basically you end up with an equation where you have lots of unknowns, and you find a way of basically coding this onto the quantum annealer. There's quite a bit of information. I'm still learning about this, so that's because it's quite different from the gate-based computing, where you have your various gates, your Hadamard, so it's totally different. But it's quite interesting as well, and I could imagine you might even have hybrid applications of the ANILA and the gate model, who knows?
Thank you very much, and welcome. I think we're left with a few people. Carlos Goodman.
Yeah, hello. Nice to meet you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
I'm from Colombia. I was based before in London. I was studying a MSc in computing and technology. But right now I'm working as a CTO in Colombia in a building company. I was interested in the quantum computing like 2 years ago. I heard about the quantum computing, the IBM quantum computing and Google. And well, I wanted to do my thesis on, based in quantum computing, but I didn't have a lot of time to do that. So, I had to remove it and just make it simple. Yes, yeah, I'm really excited to know more about quantum computing and what is that about.
Thank you very much. And maybe for later or now, it's up to you. If you come across any use cases in the building sector, which might be interesting to share, because I understand that's your field. Feel free to. It's not one we hear often about, but I'm wondering whether there is something in the space of building construction, some kind of optimization there. If you have anything interesting to share, please do so.
All right, yeah, great.
Next one, I have Shida Nazari. Hello.
Hi. So I'm Shada. I'm originally from Iran, but now I live in Madrid. So it's really nice to meet you, Esperanza, and of course all of you. I recently finished my master in computer science and computing technologies, and my final project was related to quantum computing. And I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. You broke up a bit, but we could hear you in the end. So yeah, well, welcome to the community. I think we have Harshdip. Hello, welcome.
Yeah, am I audible?
Yeah.
So myself, Harshdip, I have just started my PhD in quantum computation. I'll be working primarily in applications of variational quantum algorithms in quantum chemistry, and here and then I think in optimization problems as well. So started working remotely, so obviously don't have a lot of connections and other things. So I'm trying to find meetups like this, workshops and other things on my own. Looking forward to learn a lot from all of you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and welcome. Yari, welcome. We see you. Hello, but we cannot hear you. I think you are on mute.
How about now?
Yeah, you are the lucky
okay.
one.
Okay, yeah. So this is Jari, and I'm from Finland, and I'm very interested in quantum computing, and my background is in computer science, and I have done quite a lot work with optimization to various kind of problems, mainly dealing with the elevator industry. So
okay.
I'm very keen on learning more about quantum computation and optimization. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome to the community. Same question I had for Carlos. Is there anything in your domain, possible applications of quantum computing in your domain? We will be interested in hearing about those. Have a think. Thank you and welcome. And finally, Mike. Mike H.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. I work in the financial industry in Manhattan. I'm an electrical engineer, and I'm just learning quantum right now. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome, and glad to have you here. Just a last-minute connection. I think Liuen. Hello, hi. I just saw you connected. We are doing a bit of a random introduction. If you want to just share, what brings you here and a bit about your background. Liuen? No. Okay, that's fine. No worries. So yes, let's go a bit around the room, sharing some updates. I know Esperanza. She mentioned the QSI, the Quantum Strategy Institute, earlier. And do you want to maybe tell us a bit more what it is about, and for people if they want to be involved?
Yeah, sure. The Quantum Strategy Institute started as a think tank, trying to address the space between businesses and quantum. Is very much focused on thinking about applications of quantum and also thinking about implementations of quantum on the question of how can we make this a reality. So it's a beautiful project, and I'm also thrilled to have Anahita as a colleague there, and she's doing an amazing job thinking about the industry verticals, about applications. So I will share now the link so you can look around and also follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, and stay tuned about what we are up to. I don't know, Anna, if you would like to add something about this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Esperanza. So yeah, as Esperanza mentioned, the Quantum Strategy Institute, it's a place where original publications and articles will be put, and it will be all different aspects of quantum technologies that have to do with the business side of things and how we see this developing in society. And it's the positioning of the Quantum Strategy Institute really wants to kind of demystify what quantum computing is, and not overhype it, not underhype it, but really state what the state is at the moment and follow that journey and be a resource for people to be able to go to there and understand how it can impact their industry and what steps they might want to take and resources. So it's as Esperanza just shared the link, it's if you're new to this and you're also coming from industry and you want to just understand how this can be implemented within your company, it's a great place to start. Esperanza, it would be great to know what your role is as head of change management. What does that mean, and what
yeah, sure. Change management is mostly about how can we implement things, how can we do things differently, or how can we do new things. That is pretty much what change management is about. Now, in the specific case of quantum technologies, those are crucial questions because, well, if we want to address that space where quantum meets business, we need to start walking that road, so to speak. So my role is thinking about change management in the specific realm of quantum technologies. And I like to speak about quantum change management and quantum change management as a way to achieve a quantum mindset, which hopefully will help businesses and hopefully will also help moving the quantum industry forward and contributing to society. Because at the end of the day, what I think is that we are doing this because we want to contribute to a greater good to our societies and use technologies as the way to do so. And I have just seen that Amrita is back. Amrita is also in the team at Quantum Strategy Institute. She is head, as she mentioned, of quantum machine learning and algorithms. That is a fascinating field as well. I don't know if she can and she would like to maybe share some insights. Zoom,
Please,
if Zoom
Amrita, if you want.
allows.
Yeah,
No,
absolutely.
we
Yeah,
can,
please, Amrita.
we can go. Amrita,
You want to talk a bit about your role at the Quantum Strategy Institute? You touched a bit earlier on it, but maybe you can give us a bit more details.
Yeah, sure. Am I audible to everyone? There were some technical issues that I'm facing, network issues, but if I'm audible to everyone.
Yeah.
We can hear you fine.
Yeah.
Okay, all right then. So Quantum Strategy Institute, like Esperanza mentioned, we kind of came up with the concept of how the concept of engineering, physics, mechanics can be converged with business, because with the experience in working with healthcare industry, one thing that I have kind of learned so far, the industries which are on the consumer side, especially the healthcare finance and healthcare insurance, they are very conservative in terms of adopting any sort of advanced technologies. So if you ask me, okay, are we AI mature? So maybe and maybe not, I would say. It's not something, some power portion of the industry, they focus on adopting the AI strategy in their project areas. Some portion of the industries, they do not. The reason being, the data inflow that we have in our system is highly, basically, we need real-time sort of data inflow in our system. Data exchanging, messaging, everything, it is all real time. So any sort of glitches that we face can lead to, investment, sort of loss of dollars, like millions of dollars. It's not a small dollar amount. And that's where the industry comes in a very conservative way, that whatever we are adopting, we need to make sure that it is going to give you, some sort of finite, or I would say an interesting advantage in terms of money, in terms of finance, in terms of having their market, having strength in their market strategy, in insurance and in the healthcare side. So this is something we kind of, that's how we kind of came into this concept, that okay, how to basically involve with those people who are still trying to adopt the quantum, or let's say AI, in their strategy, but still not very confident enough that how we can actually go by, right? This concept that we started, and we kind of have people from different segments, like Esperanza is working on change management, Anahita is from industry verticals. There are other people like Brian and Danica. Everyone is like working on different segment of the market in order to understand that every segment is important and how we can actually pull in those segments with these little, I would say, conservative side of industry, like who are not very open to changes, basically. My this actually comes, whenever we talk to business, and they have this in mind, okay, everything is fine, but how you're actually doing it, do we have some actual basically results out of it, can we see some actual results out of it? And we do not have right now, some sort of actual results that we can actually show to them, okay, this is how it is working and this is how we can adopt. It's a difficult sort of basically I would say difficult sort of stuff that we need to make understand to those people, right? So being said that, from QSI we are trying our best that okay, how we can actually connect to these portions of industry, not just the obviously not just the healthcare market, obviously the finance market, the insurance market, and other segments of business. My role with QSI is adopting the quantum machine learning in business strategy. Also, my background is in artificial intelligence with the projects that I'm working with my organization, that is United Health Group. So how I'm trying to fit those AI strategy with my project areas, that I'm trying to implement with QSI as well. And also how we can think about, so one thing is use cases is important. Whenever we start with anything, we need to identify, okay, which portion of your project you can actually fit in your use case with quantum, right? So this is something, identifying use cases one thing, and also creating a roadmap how you can implement those use cases will be another thing, because just maybe identifying, but yeah, theoretically we cannot think theoretically in this area. We need to go some practical, we need to develop some sort of roadmap. Okay, for example, in next 6 months I'm gonna achieve, for example, I'm working in fraud detection, or let's say I'm working portfolio optimization. So in next 6 months or 7 months, I'm gonna achieve this sort of work for your particular process. this we need to identify and bring some roadmap to the, those project area, which will be very important. And that is what I'm trying to identify with QSI as well. That, okay, let's say if I have 5 use case, that will be little, that I'm gonna, work in, let's say, next 2 years. Like this is my roadmap for 2 years. But then how I can implement it, that is a major point that I need to think through, and then that I need to bring to the industry in order to make the people who are in the business understand that, okay, why this is important, and how actually we can bring those concepts from quantum, let's say, or concepts from AI, let's say, to our to our industry. So this is what is my role right now with QSI, and this is how we are trying to connect with people across industry, and trying to build and understand what is their problem areas and how we can identify and implement the quantum strategy with them.
I do have a question. Thank you very much for all the 3 of you. I do have a question. So change management is a super important topic, very close to my heart. I've been doing that for most of my career. So what are the main challenges you're facing at the moment? Is it, I don't know, finding the right people to talk to, generating enough interest? Because clearly, we are a bit of a start of the journey where there is a lot of evangelization still being done. So what are the main challenges you see, and what do you think, how that will play out? How will will it evolve? I don't know.
Yeah, sure. I'll tell you. From my experience, I'll tell you. Very first thing that I see is, apart from all the hardware issues and all that we can talk about later, from the business perspective, you'll see the very first thing for this consumer market is how you can actually bring in quantum engineers to their system. So very first thing, if you want to transform your software engineers to quantum engineers, and if you're able to generate some sort of interest in your software engineering team, that they are joining some of those cohort groups who are educating quantum, and that we are trying for our organization as well. Like I was the part of first cohort group that my organization was kind of funding to, just in order to create software engineers into quantum engineers. So very first thing is, are you able to create these interest in your software engineers? Because of this quantum engineering concept, if you think about, it's a very new concept in the market. Like people are like very confused about, if I'm a software engineer, can I be into quantum engineering? You can, but you need to understand that, okay, what level of the quantum you want to be in. You want to be in the abstraction layer, you want to be in the physics level, or you want to be in the core algorithm level, or you want to be convert from computer scientist to a quantum engineer, or let's say a quantum scientist area. So very first thing is, the workforce that we need to create for this quantum engineering area is, I think, one of the most important aspect, because we still have people who are very less in the system. We do have PhDs, but then we do have people who are working in the software engineering, quantum engineering side of the market. But the people, I think, are very less who can create awareness and education. So I think first thing is creating quantum education, which is very important for all the organization, even for the C-suite level, even for your software engineering workforce level. Second thing, what I think is, which is very important, is identifying the use case. And that I'll tell you why this is critical, because in first terms, if I just think about, okay, I can build quantum, I can have some sort of quantum algorithm working in a fraud detection model. But then I need to identify, okay, which portion of the fraud detection model I can actually bring the concept of, let's say, any concept of QML, or let's say any concept of quantum neural networks, at what point of time I need to bring that concept. That is also very important. So basically, if I'm working throughout the project, identification of where you can have your quantum inspired algorithm, or let's say hybrid quantum classical model working, that is also very important. Which phase of product you can, which phase of your project you can bring your quantum concept to your system. So second thing is, and this is very typical, because with a lot inflow of data, whenever you are working with some sort of business who is highly in the insurance side or finance side, you are working with basically billions of data at once, or millions of data at once, right? The mapping of data to the quantum system is very typical, and still is, I think, the most important thing, and also I would say a challenging part, where you're mapping your classical data to your quantum data model. Correct. So I think second is this, and this also is a huge problem with the optimization side. The third is, obviously, we do have less qubit system right now. So obviously, whenever, I mean, we can have this quantum preparedness for those organizations, but maybe, having some sort of advantage, quantum advantage out of the system may still be questioned to the business community. And okay, one thing is preparedness, but one thing is advantage. Are we getting quantum advantage out of it or not? That we need to make people understand. Sorry, any questions?
No, I think there was some background noise there. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think, yeah. So these 2-3 points, I think I see as major challenges. And for any organization, my suggestion would be first go by, you start going by quantum, educating people about quantum, because if you do not understand the concept out of it, you'll not be able to, actually perceive those concepts into your system, even if you're struggling with the use cases. But you need to understand why we need these concepts, that's in cybersecurity or with the optimization problems, or with, let's say, with the workforce optimization, any sort of resource optimization, why we actually need it. I think that we need to particularly understand.
Yeah, no, thank you. So if I get what you're saying is basically your entry point at the moment is very much technical. And then the other thing I got is also you need to go and prove your point, right? So you need to go with a specific use case and prove there's an advantage there. Was it a fair summary?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, proof is one thing, but making them understand, I think, about the quantum preparedness will be very important. Maybe advantage, that is what I'm trying to say. Advantage can come out of the system maybe in, let's say, 2 years time frame or 3 years time frame, for example, or for instance. But making the organization prepared for that quantum advantage, I think that is how we, we should go by designing your roadmap for the organization. So that is what I, kind of think.
Yeah.
And that is where the challenge lies as well. You need to bring all those education concepts, transforming your engineering concept. So that is also a very important aspect.
Yeah. So if you are smart, you should start preparing today to get the advantages in a few years' time. That's what you're saying.
Ignacio, I think, has a question as well.
Ignacio has a question. Yeah.
Yeah, actually, just to go deeper into this topic, because I'm not an expert in change management, just for you to know, but I worked several years in a tech company, and I saw this problem with different technologies, CRMs, ERPs, even with social networks. So my question is, what do you think that quantum computing is creating as a new category that can be a problem for change management? Because education or management support are, I think, some traditional categories in change management. Is there a new category that appears with quantum computing, or is it just that the traditional categories get much more complex than before? What do you think about that?
Well, I would say a mixture. So what I'm advocating right now is that we need a different approach for quantum change management. Now, this might not be specific of quantum technologies, because the thing is that traditionally change management efforts of transformational efforts, if you wish, do not exactly have very high success rate, right? That is the reality. So maybe it is time to start reimagining change management. And yeah, of course, there are, as you very rightly pointed out, Ignacio, some traditional aspects in here. Of course, education is very important. Of course, managerial support is very important. And for me, the key point is what we are talking about here ultimately is about changing mindsets, right? And that is really the challenge and the opportunity. And I believe it's possible to do that.
Yeah, I think that's a very important point, right? But I'm not sure I understand your answer, Esperanza. Sorry for putting you on the spot, but it's not just adopting a new technology. What is different this time around? I think Ignacio's question is super valid.
Exactly. Well, it goes beyond technology. It reached a point where what we are talking about are the big questions for an organization, such as why, the why of our organization, the meaning of the things an organization does. And technology, and in this case, quantum technologies, are a catalyzer of that. And the key point for a successful adoption, in this case, quantum technologies, but we could talk about any other technology, is again, reaching a mindset. And in the case of quantum, I speak about a quantum mindset. It's necessary to be in that state of mind, so to speak. And this has very profound implications for organizations, because it will probably also change structures in the organization. And I'm not speaking about I would say new structures, which can happen. I'm actually talking about reimagining those structures.
Yeah, it's fascinating concept.
It has a lot of implications, and sometimes it goes beyond technology, though technology is a great catalyzer.
Yeah, and yeah, I suppose also more basically, the amount of things you can do, the amount of problems you can solve. I think that also
right
more on a basic level. I think.
Yeah, that's the starting point of the real change. That's how the change starts.
Yeah.
Andre,
Andrea has a question,
sorry to interrupt.
No, I said Andre has a question. I think you were saying the same, right?
Yeah.
Andre.
Actually, I have two questions. First is, you talk about this quantum mindset. It's like a quantum intuition that each people inside the organization need to have to understand where to put quantum in his benefits and how to take advantage of this technology.
Yeah, part of a quantum mindset is that, as you very rightly pointed out, Andre. And then along with that comes other things, such as, for example, exploration, and also focusing more on efforts instead of on immediate results. Also, for example, when formulating a strategy, thinking about future designs to formulate this strategy, which is not something widely adopted. So summarizing, yeah, it has to do with that intuition, and there are other things around too, but as you have captured it perfectly, that intuition, that conviction to look for applications of quantum technologies and of perseverance is a core part of the quantum mindset.
Isn't that, sorry, I'll let you finish, then I will have a question.
So the big picture is in fact a research mindset. And this quantum is just a pretext that we have in our days.
Yeah, it's I hadn't thought about it that way, but you are right. It shares a lot of things in common with a research perspective. And I would add here is applied research. And in the business world, maybe what we understand about applied research is slightly different from academia, maybe.
And particularly in this case of quantum computing, what is the level of knowledge that a person needs to have to be able to adapt or to implement quantum algorithms in his use case or in the problem? Because if you don't know quantum, you cannot identify the use case. So what's the average? Because you have more, you have a lot of experience with this.
It depends a lot, I would say, on the role that each individual is going to play. But I share your views that it's necessarily minimum to be able to speak quantum. And now there will be different levels of proficiency in quantum, but I agree with you that there is a minimum that everyone needs to speak.
Thanks.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank
So
you
let me
for
play
your
devil's
questions.
let me play devil's advocate there. So when we said, it's a continuous looking for new opportunities, new challenges, isn't that just called innovation? Or what am I missing here?
Well, it depends a lot on how an organization understands innovation. But yeah, in many organizations, we can say that is actually embedded in the existing innovation practices and organizations. However, I would also add, in some cases, the innovation practices or units will need to go through a transformation as well. But yeah, in many cases, it's very, very related.
I think one of the differences, I mean, Esperanza is much more of an expert on this topic, but from where I see, one of the big differences is something that, Andrea also touched on, is if you don't have any understanding of quantum, because it is such a complex, as somebody mentioned in the chat, the counterintuitive topic, then it's hard to know where you can actually apply it and what the benefits are. So sort of, being able to break down what problems it can solve, because it can't solve every problem, right? You're not going to be using a quantum computer as a calculator to add 2 + 2. You're not going to use it to stream YouTube videos. There's no point in that. But there are certain problems that it is good at solving. And I think understanding what those are and having some background and saying, well, okay, optimization is this kind of a problem. As the variables in my problem increase, my problem gets exponentially larger and I reach a limit, and therefore I can use this technology. You're right, and Ignacio mentioned, why is this different to, I guess, machine learning and AI when they came out of many different technologies. I think with those, even they're also incredibly complex, there's more of an understanding that we intuitively can understand where they fit in. We know that, I have this problem and I can apply machine learning to be able to see patterns. But I think sometimes it's hard to know where you fit in quantum, because a lot of misconception is that it's just a faster computer. Well, yes, it can solve problems faster, but it's not purely a supercomputer. We have supercomputers already and they reach a limit. So it's, I guess, trying to get that message across. And on the other question of who needs to know to what level, I think your answer is exactly right about it depends on who it is. I think when you look at when you look at management and you look at, C-suite executives, well, they don't need to know the details of it, but they do need to understand on general, what is quantum, timelines it's coming, what kind of problems can it on large solve. But then when you have your maybe data scientists in your team, people who you're going to upskill, then they will need to go through some training to, whether that be Qiskit, whether that be whatever comes out, that's the best resource to actually get into it. But
yeah, thanks Anna, it was clear. Thank you. We are just about at the top of the hour, but there is a question from Elena.
Sorry, I can also ask my question next time if.
No, please, it's fine. Yeah, we can.
Okay, I'll go very quick then. It's just to this point, because in the corporate world, typically you have to convince the people who are not technical enough, so senior management who don't go into the details of things. So I'm lucky because my manager is very technical, because we are the quantitative research team. But as a matter of fact, the people that we have to convince would be people above him, which have no idea what quantum computing is. And even quantum physicists, like I believe it was Richard Feynman who said, whoever says that they understand quantum physics, they actually don't. I think it was him who said it. So if quantum physicists do not understand what quantum physics is, then how do we make sure that we, as you mentioned, we have this change in mindset? It's actually true. I do believe it's a change in mindset, because you go from binary to a myriad of possibilities between 0 and 1. You go from deterministic results from an algorithm to probabilistic results from an algorithm. So in this sense, I do believe it's a change of mindset. So how do you explain in very simple terms to someone who makes a decision why we need this? How do you explain entanglement?
May I answer your question, please? Because I have a great story about this. I have shared an article by Goldman Sachs. It's pretty old by quantum terms because it's 2018. And I happen to know a very senior individual in the finance sector in Spain, right? He's now pursuing his own interests, but he's very, very senior. And he's a quantum enthusiast. So I asked him, how did you get here? And he said, well, I get to quantum because I read an article in 2018 by Goldman Sachs on quantum computing. And it is the one that I have just shared. So, this individual, he's very funny and he's very humble as well. And he said, at that time, I didn't understand a single word. I didn't know what was quantum, what was quantum mechanics and quantum computing. But I understand that the guys at Goldman Sachs, when they say something, they are onto something. So that article inspired him to learn more, to do his own training, and now he's an enthusiast on all things quantum. And so this story, in a sense, I hope it helps you to start some conversations, such as sending this article, take a look at this, because I share your views, Elena. Sometimes people at very top management, they have a very broad and high level of ideas and vision. And sometimes they guide themselves just like this, because the guys at Goldman Sachs wrote an article and say, this is going to be important. And then in Forbes, there are also lots of articles, lots of resources. So I would try to share with them sources of information that are their trusted sources of information. I don't know if it helps. I hope it does. And maybe there are some other insights around here that could help.
I think ultimately it boils down to what kind of benefits is this bringing to my organization. That's what the senior management cares about, right? Top line, bottom line. That's a simple math game. The tricky bit is, we are still in this journey where we are getting up to speed. Technology is maturing, but maybe it's not solid enough. We are in this, evolutionary stage. That's the tricky bit, is to convince them. As Amrita was saying, you need to start investing now if you want to be ready in 3 years' time to grab the advantages, right? That's the tricky conversation. I think it depends a lot on the kind of organization you're working for. If some organizations are more inclined into long-term investments, and the innovation is a long-term play, right? It's not short returns. So are you bold enough to invest today to harvest tomorrow? That depends a lot on the organization. Right. Super fascinating conversation. I'm sorry, terribly sorry to have to stop here. We're just a few minutes over, but it was a super great conversation that we had. I hope you all enjoyed and had some takeaways from it. Anna, very quickly, do you want to share what's next in terms of events?
So yeah, we have an event coming up that will be sort of a quantum career fair of sorts, where we will have a few people talking about how to apply to different roles within the quantum industry that will be available. So keep your eyes for that if you're looking for how to get involved and start a quantum career. We're also looking at having a webinar around quantum and ethics. So that's still being planned, but we will have details for you as soon as it is.
And let's not forget the webinar with Esperanza. Is that on the 28th of October? Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We will be discussing the intersection of quantum finance and cybersecurity. So I think it's going to be a very interesting discussion and intersection. So if you can attend, of course, you are more than welcome.
Fantastic. Thank you. Looking forward to that. So once again, great to see everyone. And, all the information for the upcoming events will be on LinkedIn and on Meetup. So if you want to find out more, please do connect on those platforms. And for now, it's just for me to say thank you very much again. And I will see you at the next one. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.